Hi everyone, so I chose Atypical from Netflix to do this assignment on. So I'm just going to go straight into the questions. For question 3, the main character is a high school student named Sam who is on the autism spectrum. In the first 2 episodes, we see how his life is at home, at school, and in the workplace. In regards to his social traits, he is, I guess, what people would say socially awkward. He isn't aggressive, but he does have meltdowns if things don't go his way or if someone points out his autism. He doesn't have one friend in school that I have seen so far. He is picked on at school as well. He does seem to have a okay relationship with a coworker. And emotionally, he does get anxious in social situations like dating and school. As for his cognitive traits, he does have special interests in Antarctica, specifically penguins, and he works in some sort of tech appliance store. Now, question 4 and 5. The show, as I mentioned, is about Sam, an individual with autism who is developing an interest in relationships, dating. I have only watched 2 episodes so far, but it mainly revolves around him getting a girlfriend. Other characters he mainly interacts with is his mother, his father, his sister, and his therapist. His mother seems very concerned with the well-being of both her son and her daughter, specifically Sam though. She is an overwhelmed character in the show. She goes to therapy and is attempting to find hobbies to enjoy herself as well. Sam's father seems to work in the medical field, I believe as an ambulance driver. He doesn't seem to have the closest relationship with Sam in the beginning, but over the course of the episodes, he does gain a stronger relationship with him as they bond by Sam wanting to get a girlfriend. Now, Sam's sister is very protective over Sam and has a tendency to lash out or argue with her mother. As we follow the episodes, he gets advice from many sources, the internet, family members, friends, in order to understand social cues that are heavily involved in dating. So we see him in these episodes fail miserably in 2 dates. In the second date, actually, the girl asks him if he is retarded. So yeah, he has a meltdown after that. Now for question 6, according to the DSM-5, for someone to be diagnosed with autism, they must show deficits in social, communication, and interactions in the 3 areas. In addition, they must show at least 2 out of the 4 types of restrictive, repetitive behaviors. We see both persistent deficits in social interaction and repetitive behaviors in the show, as well as special interests. So Sam, he displays deficits in social interaction by having an unusual social approach. In one episode, he actually approaches a couple and asks the guy how he was able to steal her away from another man that he saw her kissing like a day ago. And that kind of causes an altercation between them. He also has a hard time understanding nonverbal cues. An example of this would be when he is at work and there is a girl just checking him out, and he is just totally oblivious to her until a coworker points her out to him. So he tries to kind of do that non-verbal flirting by smiling back, but he kind of overdoes it and scares her away. So and let's see, he also has a hard time understanding human relationships. He does mention this throughout the episodes. As for restrictive behaviors, he does display repetitive movements like flicking a pencil and a rubber band. I think that's his way of stimming. Another example would be walking in circles around his bed when he's anxious. He also has an insistence on sameness. He takes his second date to his job, actually, to have pizza because that's where he feels more at ease and safe. He also has a special interest in penguins, as I mentioned. He is constantly talking about penguins and comparing penguin relationships or mating with human relationships. Lastly, he does have sensory issues like not being able to sit back all the way in bus seats because it bothers him, it bothers his back. He also states that he enjoys hard touches versus soft touches. That actually causes him to miss out on sexual activity with a date because of that sensory issue. There's also another example of him being sensitive to lights. When he's being bullied, it kind of overwhelms him, and he has a meltdown as well. Now, for question 7, I think Atypical does a good job in bringing awareness to ASD and sexual health. This is a topic that not too long ago was seen as taboo, but people with ASD develop sexual interest around the same time as their atypically developing peers. Now, when I went through the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria, Sam checks every single section. He fits the autistic criteria to a T, so to say. It made me reflect on our assigned readings for this week because it supported the idea that this is kind of how they portray individuals with ASD in a lot of television shows. So in conclusion, I do think that the show does a good job in portraying the challenges that people with ASD face in regards to like relationships. But Sam's character is a little more stereotypical than realistic. For question 8, if I was a producer, I would like to see not just one character with ASD, but maybe a few to kind of get like a more variation. So far, he's the only kid in the show with ASD, and I think it could make viewers think that all ASD individuals are like him, so it could stereotype autism a little bit. I would maybe add interactions with other individuals with ASD in maybe therapy or in his school. I would make sure that all individuals with ASD are portrayed as unique and in their developmental states and their ASD behavior, so the audience could have a better understanding as autism as a spectrum versus, oh, this is one person with autism, everyone is like him. So yes, thank you.